Morning, beautiful people. How are you all today? It is a beautiful day here in North Carolina. I hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. So today, every single day before these live streams, I say something about how this is going to be a really good live stream and, how it's going to be really hard hitting and very informative and all that stuff. I mean, it's not going to be anything out of the ordinary, but I'm very proud of myself for doing this breakdown because I think sometimes people get so lost in the weeds that they don't know what's actually going on. Like, for instance, one of my biggest critiques of news media, just in general, is that they often do not define or explain what they're talking about. Politics is a language. Political news is a language itself. It really is. And sometimes a lot of people within media, they try to just share their opinion instead of just offering you the broad context of what this means or what this means or what this means. And I'm here to help break it all down. Like, I'm not here to tell you what to think. As much as all these far right-wing crazy MAGA trolls that are homophobic and have nothing but the same regurgitated talking points, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to make it easier for you to understand and to give you some critical thinking skills and break it all down. If you and I are looking at the same set of facts and we come to two different conclusions on the best way to approach it moving forward, then cool, great, fantastic. I mean, I'm going to tell you that I disagree, but the facts are not up for debate. And so what I am offering here is I'm just going to be breaking down why the government is shut down. And I apologize, my green screen is really not jiving today. So I apologize if the resolution isn't the best, but I appreciate every single one of you. So I'm here to break down why the government is actually shut down. Like, what is this all about? What is the core discrepancy at hand? What is the latest action? What is it all over? And so I'm going to here to break it all down. As a disclaimer, there will be math involved in this live stream. Yes, there will be math. M-A-T-H. And so, if you're not the best with numbers, then just try to follow me as best as you can. But make sure to send some likes. Tap the screen. I appreciate every single one of you. Good morning, Kate. Good morning, Akicha, Ilisa. Aw. All my mod friends are already coming in here. Hello. Anyway, but I'm here to break it all down for you all and try to just give the easiest to understand way to approach it. So what I try to do in my live streams is always over-explain things. And sometimes it becomes kind of annoying, but I over-explain it because people are scrolling in, scrolling out all the time on the live stream. So sometimes people will miss things. So that's why I do this sort of style. So, ooh, do I have a pimple on my forehead? No, I'm good. All right. So let's break it all down here. Why is the government shut down right now? It's simply because Republicans and Democrats cannot come to a conclusion around the budget. Republicans are trying to cut ACA healthcare subsidies for people, low-income people in particular, and Democrats are saying, no, we don't want to do that. That's simply what it's about. That's not a political statement. That is just factually what's happening. Right now, Republicans are saying we want to eliminate these Affordable Care Act subsidies. We'll talk about what a subsidy is, who it benefits, all that stuff. Republicans are simply trying to get rid of these subsidies that help low-income people afford their health insurance. That's simply what it is. Republicans want to get rid of those provisions. Democrats are saying, hey, we need to keep those provisions. Right now, the reason why the government isn't open is because there was a funding bill. There are actually two different ones. There was a Republican one and a Democratic one. Both failed in the Senate, meaning that without this bill actually apportioning funding, then people are working without pay. The government technically is closed, and uncertainty is in the air. All of this is over the one big main thing, healthcare subsidies. And now it's funny because being in, political news journalism, some people are going to be like, oh, it's more interesting to hear about Epstein, or it's more interesting to hear about the latest scandal or crazy take or the culture war. I'm here to be a journalist. So I'm going to give you the raw factual information, break it all down for you as best as I can, even if the topic isn't the most salacious or interesting. I'm not here to tell you what to think, but rather to give you information on how to think critically. So if you are on board with all of that, then please make sure to like the stream. Let's get started here. So right now we're entering, I believe this is day 6 of the shutdown. Now, this shutdown is because Republicans and Democrats cannot come to an agreement upon a funding bill. The biggest disagreement within this funding bill is for healthcare subsidies. Subsidies which help low-income people afford their health insurance. So why did the US government shut down? Well, they failed to pass a funding bill. And it's strictly by the numbers. So right now, in order to pass a funding bill, an appropriations bill, many things in our government are whoever has the most votes, then or whatever gets the most votes passes. Though in the Senate, you know how you have 2 senators per state? In the Senate, you have to have 60 votes to pass a funding bill, an appropriations bill. Well, right now, this is the current makeup of the Senate. So if Democrats are going to pass a funding bill, then they are going to need these 2 independents as well as a good chunk of Republican senators. Likewise, Republicans, if they're going to pass a funding bill, need Democratic support or independents to peel off. So that is what that's what the big conflict is here. There's not been an agreed upon appropriations bill. And so because the deadline passed, that means that many people are working, federal workers are working without pay, meaning that like the government is technically shut down and they have a deferred paycheck and all that stuff. So that's what this is all about. They can't agree on an appropriations bill. The biggest part that they are not able to connect with, the core dispute, are the expiring ACA subsidies. Now, you might hear ACA and Obamacare. They are the same thing. I think many people have learned that over time, but the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same thing. Basically, the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are simply government-provided health insurance at a discounted rate for low-income people. Now, of course, this is for a lot of low-income people. Not everyone within the range to qualify is on it. For instance, I'm not going to tell you how much I make in my job or anything like that. I'm not going to do that. But there are many people who make certain amounts that could qualify for it, but might get insurance through their employer. So we're going to be talking about, what is the ACA? We're going to be talking about, what is a subsidy? What is a healthcare premium? The big takeaway here, before I really dive into the weeds, the big dispute is over subsidies within the Affordable Care Act. Cool. I appreciate every single one of you. I don't even understand why there are weird people like spamming in the chat here. This is why I hide away the chat so I don't even see it. Like, it's just, anyway. So the big discussion right now is over healthcare subsidies. That's what the big divide is. And so right now, Democrats are saying, hey, we want to keep these ACA subsidies in place. These ACA subsidies, meaning that the government is helping to foot the bill for low-income people to have health insurance. Meaning that they can go to the doctor, get treatment and everything. The government partially foots the bill for their healthcare costs. So people aren't going bankrupt over trying to go and just get healthcare. Now, Republicans are saying, we want to eliminate those subsidies. We want to eliminate them altogether. We don't need them. We don't need these these government funding to go to low-income people for healthcare. That's not a political statement. That's not me trying to spin it. That's just objectively what's happening. Right now, Republicans are trying to get rid of these ACA subsidies. They want to eliminate some of them. They want to get rid of the subsidies for low-income people. So let me break this further down here. You might be like, okay, you're using a lot of terms and I don't quite understand. Now, if you have health insurance, you're familiar with something called a premium. A premium is basically your bill, how much you pay for your health insurance every month, okay? So it depends on how much you pay, what kind of plan you have, all that. That's what your premium is. A subsidy is simply assistance given by the government to individuals or a business. So for instance, let's say the government wants to subsidize solar panel manufacturing, meaning making it cheaper to manufacture solar panels in the US. That could be a subsidy. The government could also subsidize and say, hey, we're going to partially foot the bill for low-income people to have health insurance. Subsidies, like all of money within government, come from your taxes. So this is money that you've already paid for. So when you receive a subsidy from the government, that is the government having taken in your taxes and spending it to help subsidize certain things. So subsidies, a good chunk of it comes from taxpayer dollars. So in breaking it all down here, let's say that your healthcare costs, let's say that you just now qualified to receive some compensation from the government for your health insurance. Okay, so let me give you an example here. Let's say that you owe $800 a month in your premium, your monthly cost for receiving health insurance so you can go to the doctor. Well, let's say it's $800 a month. The ACA subsidy, Obamacare, Affordable Care Act subsidy, says, you know what, we're going to subsidize the amount that you pay. We're going to foot the part of the bill for it. It's the same way that if you want to purchase something and you get a coupon or you're able to get a discount, the government is basically discounting your healthcare if you make under a certain threshold, if you are a lower income person, if you are between, I believe it's the poverty level and 400% the poverty level or something like that. I have to double check. I have all this stuff later on in the live stream. Point of all that is, a subsidy is basically a discount. It is a coupon. It is a reduction in the amount that you owe. These subsidies come from your taxpayer dollars. So you're already paying for it. Don't ask me why this is the system. I'm not here to get into that. It's a whole nother discussion. But this is what it is. So let's say you owe $800 a month for your health insurance. Well, then you have the Affordable Care Act subsidy that comes in, and it reduces it by $600. So the amount that you pay after government assistance is $200 a month. And again, the money for these ACA subsidies largely come through taxes. Cool? So with all of this kind of being broken down here, let's say that you earn $45,000 a year. There is a current law that was put in place during the coronavirus pandemic that basically said, hey, the total amount that you pay for your healthcare cannot be more than 8.5% of your yearly income. Let's say you make $45,000 a year. Well, 8.5% of your income for the year would be $5,294. You divide that by 12, meaning that the max amount that you pay per month with this COVID era subsidy that's in place that Republicans, I believe, are trying to get rid of, would be the max you would pay is $441 a month or less. So if we were to eliminate the subsidy, if we were to eliminate the ability for you to receive that, then it could go up so much more. For instance, so hold on a second. Where to go? Yeah. So the core dispute of why the government is shut down: the Enhanced Affordable Care Act, Obamacare premium tax credits, enacted during the COVID-19 era, expire on December 31st. They have spurred record enrollment for people. They capped premiums at 8.5% income for many. Without extending these things, which Republicans are trying to get rid of, without extension, premiums could rise 75% on average in 2026, hitting middle-class families earning $65,000 to $100,000 the hardest. So if Republicans are successful in eliminating these subsidies, then that means that they're going to take away the 8.5% cap, meaning that this is putting a cap, so meaning that's the max amount that you'll ever possibly pay, or it could be lower. So Republicans are trying to get rid of this cap, meaning that they can price gouge you. So you might owe $441 a month, but if they get rid of that subsidy, it could go up by a 50% increase of $660. So it could go up to 65% increase of $727 a month, or even a 75% increase to $771 a month. So the reason why the government is shut down is because Democratic senators are saying, hey, we don't want to eliminate these subsidies. We don't want to eliminate the ability for the government to help subsidize low-income people's health care. Right now, Republicans are trying to get rid of these subsidies. They're trying to get rid of these discounts for low-income people. They're trying to get rid of this assistance to low-income people to afford their health insurance. That's not a political statement. That's objectively what's happening. If you think that's good, you do you. If you think that's bad, you do you. I'm simply just laying it out here. The reason the government is shut down is because Republicans are trying to take away these healthcare subsidies. Democrats are saying, no, we don't want to take them away. That's simply what the core dispute is here. These healthcare subsidies help low-income people. That's simply what it is. So I want to lay out how many people this actually helps. So, and again, what is included in the ACA subsidies that Democrats are fighting for? They're enhanced premium tax credits that, help low-income people afford their health care. So just to highlight how many people, and they are set to expire at the end of 2025, yada, yada, yada. Just to point out how many people these healthcare subsidies help, the population of the United States is 340 million people. It's actually 342 million people, according to the World Population Clock, which is a government site. Now, I took this screenshot, probably about 15, 20 minutes ago, so it's going to be more than that. But, this is the population of the United States. It's actually, the population of the United States is 342 or so million people. Now, it's also important to point out that when looking at the numbers for who is enrolled in Medicaid and CHIP, which is the Children's Health Insurance Program, this is about 77 million people. That means that 77 million people are receiving these subsidies. They qualify to receive these subsidies so that the amount that they pay for their health care is reduced. So in order to qualify for that discount, that coupon, you can think of it that way, you have to make a certain amount of money. So it's even means tested. So let's say that you earn $80,000 a year, and it's just you. You're not going to qualify for this low-income people's program because it's just you. So all that being said, when we're looking at who benefits from healthcare subsidies, the population of the United States is 340 million people. The people that are on Medicaid is 77 million people. When you divide 340 million people by 77 million, that means about 1 in 4 people in the United States are on Medicaid. So these subsidies that help put a cap on the amount that you pay each month in your premiums That means that Republicans are trying to eliminate the insurance, footing part of the insurance for 1 in 4 people in the United States. Does that all make sense? Republicans are the real dispute over why the government is shut down. The real dispute over why the government is shut down is simply because Republicans do not want to extend a discount, a coupon, the government helping foot the bill for low-income people to afford health care. That's not a political statement. That's an objective fact. Just laying it out. Now, if you think, oh, well, the government should eliminate these programs for low-income people to afford their health care, that's definitely an interesting statement. I mean, I'm going to personally disagree with that because I think that, we need to help working class people in this country. That all being said, that could, I guess, be theoretically a debate. The objective facts are here that Republicans are trying to cut poor people's health care. Period. End of story. Now pause. I have not looked at the chat whatsoever, but I'm going to predict what's in it. Homophobic slurs, constant trying to mock me or my voice or my appearance, but also fear-mongering around how Democrats are destroying the country, and also how, it's undocumented immigrants that are receiving these healthcare subsidies. That's undocumented people. It's illegal aliens that are receiving healthcare. I haven't looked at the chat, but I'm going to guarantee that that's what it is. Now pause. For all these people that are screaming at the top of their heads thinking that undocumented immigrants receive Medicaid, you are misinformed. To qualify for Medicaid, you have to be a citizen. To qualify for the healthcare subsidies that I was talking about in question here, you have to be a citizen. Sorry, that's objectively, you cannot disagree with just raw factual information. Now, there is one small provision that the government funds. The government actually does help people who are undocumented. In particular, it's a specific small provision for emergencies. So, I even asked Grok, I said, hey, has the government allocated any money to illegal and undocumented immigrants for Medicaid? It says, no. The U.S. government does not allocate Medicaid funds for ongoing health coverage to undocumented people because in order to qualify to receive Medicaid, you have to be a citizen. That's just an objective fact. In order to receive, like I live in North Carolina, in order to receive health care coverage, these subsidies through the Affordable Care Act, you have to be a citizen. You have to be a U.S. citizen in order to receive it. So the one small little bit of compensation that undocumented people do get is specifically for emergencies. So, however, there is a narrow exception called emergency Medicaid. Emergency Medicaid covers only acute, life-threatening conditions such as labor and delivery, severe injuries, and sudden illnesses. By the way, 80% of births in the United States is covered by Medicaid. So if you cut Medicaid, then you're making it so much harder for people to bring little ones into the world. You're like, oh yeah, here's that big bill for you birthing a child out of your hootenanny. Like that's what, I think that's just so gross. So cutting Medicaid severely impacts that process. But just to really put this in perspective here, in 2023, fiscal year 2023, emergency Medicaid spending totaled $3.8 billion, representing just 0.4% of overall Medicaid. So you're like, well, wait, hold on. You're saying that this emergency Medicaid provision only costs total out of all of the Medicaid spending 0.4%? Yes. So if you are so concerned with taxpayer dollars going to undocumented people in this one provision, then that's $3.8 billion. Okay. My next then question will be, if you're upset about that, then if you're so upset over $3.8 billion, why are you not upset over $20 billion? That's the number that Donald Trump, our president, is set to bail out Argentina, the government, the economy of Argentina for. Are you not upset over $20 billion? You're so hyper-focused on 3.8 that you're not going to look at the bigger one, like almost 10 times the size? Or what about Israel? Us constantly giving more money to a country that is doing a genocide against Palestinian people. Another $12 billion. That was just recently, since the start of Trump's term. All that being said, I'm just putting in perspective here. Like, if you're going to get so concerned and so upset over narrow provisions for people who are undocumented to be able to go to the emergency room in order to cover an acute illness, then why are you not outraged over some of this other spending? Doesn't make any sense. Putting all of that in perspective here, again, the reason the government is shut down is simply because of this discrepancy, this disagreement over healthcare subsidies. That's what it's all about. In order to receive it, you have to be a citizen. In order to receive the healthcare subsidies through the Affordable Care Act, you have to be a citizen. To further point that all out, because there are probably screaming trolls that cannot, and no matter how much that I actually try to tell you all, there's people who are going to be obnoxious with it. But this was the Continuing Appropriations Act that the Democrats put in place, the appropriations bill to fund the government to then get rid of the shutdown. When you go through here, nothing in here shows. I typed in alien. Nope, there's nothing in here saying about, healthcare for even undocumented people. There's nothing under the Medicaid section saying that it goes to, non-citizens or anything like that. Undocumented people or illegal aliens, however you want to talk about it. And so the real reason why the government is shut down is simply, the reason is that Democratic senators are refusing Republicans' demand to cut healthcare subsidies for low-income people. That's the reason. It's not a political statement. That's just what's happening. Republicans want to eliminate these healthcare subsidies for low-income people, meaning that the government is partially footing the bill for poor people's healthcare. Democratic senators are saying, we don't want to put people into bankruptcy because of trying to afford their health insurance. But you know what this also means? It means that Republicans are okay with the government being shut down if there is the potential to increase the costs for low-income people's healthcare. Meaning that they are willing to be in a government shutdown if it means there's a chance to eliminate these subsidies to raise the cost for poor people paying for health insurance. If you break that all down, that's what that means. These Republicans are okay with the government being shut down so long as there is a chance that they could pass these cuts, getting rid of these subsidies for low-income people. And it's all in plain sight, y'all. It's all in plain sight. Donald Trump, our president himself, obviously has disdain for low-income people. For instance, hold on a second. Let me get to his post here. Here it is. It says, Republicans must use this opportunity of Democrat forced closure to clear out dead wood, waste, and fraud. Billions of dollars can be saved. Says the guy who wants to send $20 billion to bail out the economy of Argentina. That all being said, he views these discounts, healthcare subsidies for low-income people as waste, fraud, and abuse. It's defined right there. Donald Trump truly believes that spending that helps low-income people afford their health insurance. 1 in 4 people are on Medicaid in this country. The reason the government is shut down is because Democrats are saying, hey, we don't want Republicans to be able to go through and permanently gut these healthcare subsidies. These subsidies which help foot the bill for low-income people to afford their health insurance. So the reason the government is shut down, Democrats are saying, hey, if these go through, then people's health insurance is going to skyrocket. Democrats are trying to do Republicans actually a favor when you're actually really breaking it down here, because they're saying, hey, Republicans, if you pass this, that means that low-income people, which disproportionately affects rural Republican low-income people in red states, it's going to increase the amount that they pay in their health insurance premiums. Look, if Democrats truly didn't care, they would just let Republicans go wild with some of this stuff, because then people would be like, oh my God, why is my health insurance so high? Democrats can be like, look, we tried to stop it, but they have the majority. They cut these subsidies. So when you really think about it, Democratic lawmakers are saving Republicans from excessive embarrassment in that way, because they're there trying to be like, hey, we don't want to make people feel pain. So when Donald Trump says waste, fraud, and abuse, he clearly just means subsidies for low-income people to compensate to pay for their health care. It's frustrating that I have to over-explain it in that way, but I really hope that this helps put into context people who are like, yeah, okay, I didn't realize that that's why the government is shut down. Let me take a sip of coffee, and then I'm going to kind of recover it all again. Make sure to like the stream if you appreciate the breakdown. I work super, super hard to do all of this. So let me take a sip of water here. Hold on. Whew. Are there any super chats that I need to read? Gay water. Oh my God. The one time I look down in the chat, someone says gay water. Let me just drink my artisan gay water. So, I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all, there's some weird people in the chat here. Yeah, but it's okay to give tax breaks to billionaires. Yeah, no, 100%, Lucky Penny. 100%. They want to gut poor people's health care. They want to eliminate these subsidies to low-income people. But then they want to give a tax break to billionaires and corporations? That's just... The government needs to prioritize low-income working-class people again. They do. But under this administration, they aren't. In my view, Democrats aren't perfect at all. It's when Democrats are acting like Republicans that they lose. That all being said, the government largely is the lobby for wealthy people. And it isn't going to be until we elect real working-class people that we actually see a difference. A wealth tax, yes. So, let me cover all of this again. Let me just cover all of this again here. So, gotta breathe. Sometimes I forget to breathe during these broadcasts. So, make sure to send some likes. We're going to recover all of this again. I hope this explanation is helpful for people. If it's helpful, then just put yes in the chat. If you've appreciated this live stream so far, and this breakdown of everything has been helpful, then just put yes in the chat. I know there are many quiet listeners that will put this on, you know, while they're on their way to work, or, you know, they're making the kids lunches, or, you know, maybe they're already at work. Probably at this time, a good majority of people are at work or taking care of the kids. I appreciate every single one of you that is kind of the quiet listeners that are not these rage typing weirdos in the chat that, you know, have nothing better than to do than harass a cute little Southern gay guy like me. Anyway, I appreciate all of you. So if you're just going in here and you're like, what is this all about? I'm here to explain why the government is shut down. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I will share my opinion and you can disagree with that. The real reason the government is shut down is simply because they cannot pass a funding bill or an appropriations bill. Appropriations meaning like, okay, this is how much we're going to allocate to this, and to this, and to this. So an appropriations bill, in order to be passed, goes through the Senate as well as the House. Though, in order for it to pass, it needs 60 votes. Well, it's purely a numbers game here. In order to pass the Senate, they need 60 votes. Well, right now we have 53 Republicans, 45 Democrats, and 2 independents that often caucus with Democrats. So for Republicans, that means that they either need to get the 2 independents and 5 Democrats to then pass a bill, or for Democrats, they need to get 15 Republicans, or no, they need to get 13 Republicans and 2 independents to pass the bill. So basically, the reason why the government is deadlocked, the reason why it's shut down right now, is because the government cannot agree on passing an appropriations bill. What is the biggest thing that is up for discussion? The biggest thing that's up for discussion is healthcare subsidies. I know it's not the sexiest thing to hear. You're like, oh, that's why the government is shut down? It's simply because of healthcare subsidies. Now you're like, well, okay, I hear the word subsidy all the time, but I truly don't know what that means. It's okay. Unlike other people, I'm not here to browbeat or demean if you don't know something. I'm here to give you the raw information to help you think critically for yourself. The reason the government is shut down is because Republicans and Democrats cannot get to a common consensus to pass an appropriations bill, spending bill, and the main dispute is over healthcare subsidies. A subsidy is basically when the government gives assistance, foots the bill. Think of it as if you're trying to afford something and the government also says, you know what, we'll pay for 50% of that. We'll pay for 50% of that. There was, I forget what it was called, but if you wanted to put solar panels on your house, there was a program put in place saying that the government would partially fund you the ability to put solar panels on your house. So that's them helping to foot the bill for that. Subsidies are a way to show the priorities of the government. Right now, there are subsidies put in place to help low-income people receive health insurance. So, meaning the government is prioritizing trying to help someone who is a working class person, maybe working a couple jobs, barely making ends meet, in order to afford health insurance, meaning that they can go to the doctor, they can go to their appointments to help them improve their health. So right now, what is the big dispute? Well, Republicans want to eliminate many healthcare subsidies. They're saying, hey, we don't need these subsidies for low-income people. Republicans are saying we want to get rid of them. Democrats are saying, no, we need to keep them. We need low-income people to be able to afford their health insurance. That's not a political statement. That's not me trying to like bend the truth there. That's just objectively what's happening. And subsidies, often a good chunk of the subsidies are paid for by your taxpayer dollars. So this is money that is yours. Like, a lot of money that is put into the government, of course, is taxes. That's the biggest thing. So, and taxes, and even tariffs. Tariffs is a way for the government to make money, but tariffs is a tax on like small business owners. So it's already a tax. The way the government gets money is through taxes. So when they spend it on programs that don't inevitably help people, then that's the government prioritizing all the wrong things. So subsidies is assistance given by the government to individuals or businesses. These subsidies funded from your own taxpayer dollars. So let's say that the government, our US government, wants to send $20 billion to help bail out another country. Let's say Argentina. That's our money that we pay in taxes going overseas to bail out another country. Or you could say the money that we bring in from taxes going to spend $12 billion to help fund Israel to continue their genocide against Palestinian people. For more weapons, more all of that. That's our money. All the money that the government has is money that we, the citizens, pay into it. Or corporations, which are made up of certain elite, wealthy citizens, in some cases. All that being said, the reason why the government is shut down is simply because Republicans and Democrats cannot come to an agreement upon healthcare subsidies. Republicans want to eliminate Obamacare. They want to eliminate healthcare subsidies for low-income people. So that's what the biggest discrepancy is here. Enhanced Affordable Care Act Obamacare premium tax credits, which were enacted during the COVID-19 era. They are set to expire on December 31st of 2025. They've spurred record enrollment, 24 million for 2025, and they capped premiums at 8.5% of income for many. Also, y'all, if you're enjoying the live stream, please share this live stream with someone else, or invite someone to the live stream, because I work really, really hard to break all this down. I'm just a fellow citizen trying to inform other fellow citizens, so it means a lot to have you all with me here. The reason the government is shut down is simply because of healthcare subsidies. Republicans want to eliminate these subsidies that help low-income people afford their health insurance, and Democrats are saying, yeah, we need to not eliminate those. Now, this specific provision capped premiums at 8.5% of income for many. You're like, well, what does that mean? A premium is simply your monthly payment. Your premium is a monthly payment that you pay for your health insurance. So I have health insurance provided to me through my employer. I'm very fortunate for that. So part of my income goes to paying my premium, goes to paying for my health insurance. So a premium is the amount that you pay for your health insurance each month. And right now, the government has they have a program in place where they subsidize your premium. So for instance, let's say that you owe $800 a month for health insurance. Well, under the Affordable Care Act, they have a subsidy in there that decreases the amount that you pay. It's the government helping foot the bill for your health insurance. So they decrease it by, let's say, $600 a month, meaning that the amount that you owe after government assistance is $200 a month. That's a good discount. Let's say, and again, this money coming from subsidies is through your taxes. Now, let's say that you make $45,000 a year. And you have this COVID era subsidy, which Republicans are trying to eliminate, saying that the amount that you pay cannot be more than 8.5% of your yearly income. Republicans want to eliminate that cap, meaning that they can charge you more than that. That's not me trying to slant or push any sort of narrative. That's just objective facts. If you think that's good, if you think that's bad, that's up for you to decide. Republicans want to eliminate this cap, meaning that health insurance companies don't have to, or health insurance companies can charge whatever they want. If you eliminate this subsidy, that means that you're beholden to what health insurance companies charge, no matter what it is, whether it's more or less than 8.5% of your yearly income. But right now, the existing law is in place saying health insurance companies cannot charge more than 8.5%. You eliminate that cap, then you're beholden to whatever they want to charge you, whether they want to price gouge you or not. So let's say that you make $45,000 a year. You divide that by the max amount they could ever charge, which is 8.5% of your income. That would mean that you would pay $5,294 as a yearly total max, or less than that. But if you're paying the max amount, then it would be $441 each month. Let's say that Republicans get their wish, which is to eliminate that subsidy. Well, if they eliminate that subsidy, then that means that that monthly amount could increase. So with these provisions set to expire December 31st, even though we had record enrollment for 2025, capped premiums at 8.5% income, without extending it, which is what Democrats want to do, premiums could rise 75% on average in 2026, hitting middle-class families earning $65,000 to $100,000 the hardest, jumping from $200 a month to $800 a month in some cases. That could be that is a huge increase there. But let's say that it's not even that much. A 50% increase, well, a 50% increase of 441 is 660. 65%, 727. 75%, that would be $771 each month. Healthcare subsidies are simply the government helping to foot the bill for low-income people's health insurance. Now you're like, well, who is defined as low income? Who's defined as low income? Let me break that down for you here. Hold on. Sorry, hold on. To receive the Affordable Care Act subsidy, your annual household income generally must be between 100% and 400% the federal poverty level, the FPL. Higher incomes qualifying for less assistance. For 2025 coverage, a single-person household in the contiguous United States can earn between $15,000 and $62,000 to qualify, while a family of four has an income range of $32,000 to $128,600. So that's just how it's all structured. I'm not here to tell you whether that's good, bad. That's just how it's structured. So, all that being said, a subsidy is basically the government footing part of the bill in order for low-income people below the federal poverty level, to be able to receive compensation, or not receive compensation, receive a discount for their health insurance. That's what this whole shutdown is about. It's about the Republicans saying, we want to eliminate these discounts, these subsidies for low-income people. Democrats are saying, no, we don't want to eliminate these subsidies, these discounts for low-income people trying to afford their health care. Now, of course, Republicans are trying to claim that, oh, well, illegals are receiving these benefits. Illegals are receiving these benefits. That's their line. Illegals, they're receiving these benefits. First off, no, that's actually not true. You have all these crazy accounts that are like, Democrats claim their spending bill won't fund healthcare for illegals, citing federal law. However, the proposal explicitly repeals the One Big Beautiful Bill's reforms that banned taxpayer-funded Medicare and CHIP for illegals, which saved $185 billion and removed 1.4 ineligible enrollees. By doing these protections, they restore a system previously funneled billions to non-citizens. Blah, 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 blah. Fear, fear, fear. Anger, anger, anger. Sell all of the emotion. First off, if you actually look at the screenshots that they shared, it cites the US code. But in the US code, it specifically talks about how you do not receive healthcare subsidies, healthcare benefits, if you are undocumented. The part that you posted says nothing about illegal immigrants. It talks about citizens and legal residents, immigrants. Actual fact check. When you read this, when you actually look at it closely, it talks about you cannot qualify to receive any government assistance for your health care unless you are a citizen or legally allowed to be here. The US code says that you have to be a citizen in order to receive that compensation. So they're trying to fearmonger and be like, oh, all these illegals are receiving all this money. This is the thing. This is always the cop-out for these people. And here you go. Here you go. It's always the cop-out for people. Republicans view healthcare subsidies for low-income people, which disproportionately, there are many Republicans, low-income Republicans in rural red areas that are on Medicaid, that receive healthcare, that receive a discount. You might not even realize it. You receive a discount for your healthcare. You know what this will do? If Republicans get their way, if congressional Republicans get their way and get rid of these subsidies, which are your money, that's your money, the subsidies paid for by your taxpayer dollars, they eliminate those, then that means that you're going to have to pay increasingly more. This doesn't need to be a political, sides problem. This is a top-down issue. Who's fighting to help the low-income person? Who's fighting to help the low-income person? These subsidies help low-income people afford their health insurance. Who's on the side of keeping the subsidies there? You can fill in the blank. So the reason the government is shut down is because Democrats are saying, hey, we're not going to vote for a bill that eliminates these subsidies. And Republicans are saying, we're not going to vote for a bill that keeps these subsidies for low-income people to afford their health insurance. What does that tell you about the priorities of certain lawmakers? What does that tell you about their beliefs? Public service, being a representative or a senator is about public service. Who is really fighting for you? Who's fighting for the lesser fortunate? Who's fighting for the low-income people? You can fill in the blanks. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what the whole thing is about. And the reason why I think you have Democrats saying, yeah, we're not going to cut these subsidies for low-income people. And the reason why you have Republicans saying, yeah, we want to cut these subsidies for low-income people is because this also impacts a lot of folks. 1 in 4 people. That's who this impacts. So there's about 342 million people in the United States, according to the U.S. population clock, which is part of the census, a government site. Now, I took this screenshot about, an hour and a half ago. So it's going to be more than that. But still, if we have 340 million people, and according to June, we had about 77, almost 78 million people enrolled in Medicaid and CHIP, which is the Children's Health Insurance Program. What this means is that you eliminate this subsidy, you're impacting a lot of people. 340 million people in the United States, 77 million, of those people are on Medicaid receiving that subsidy, the coupon, the discount for low-income people receiving health insurance. That means that about 1 in 4 people are on Medicaid. So the reason the government is shut down is because they cannot come to an agreement around continuing or discontinuing these subsidies to help low-income people, 1 in 4 people, afford their health insurance. That's the whole thing, why the government is shut down. Republicans are saying, eliminate the subsidies. We don't need a cap. Health insurance, can charge you as much as they want. We don't need the government to subsidize healthcare for people, low-income people in particular. We don't need the government to step in and help people afford their healthcare. Democrats are saying, yeah, healthcare costs are really, really expensive. We need to help low-income people afford their healthcare. That's simply what the debate is about. Where do you reside? Where do you reside? Are you on the side of eliminating these discounts and subsidies for low-income people and the ability for health insurance to charge you whatever they want, whether it has a reason or not, being able to price gouge you for your health insurance? Or are you on the side of, hey, this is our money that we're paying into the government through subsidies already, or through our taxes that are these subsidies. So are you on the side of wanting the government to help foot the bill for your health insurance, using your money that you already paid for in taxes? Are you on the side of allowing Republicans to eliminate these subsidies, these discounts for low-income people, eliminating the discount, eliminating the aid for the government to step in and foot the bill for low-income people that need health insurance? Or are you on the side for helping poor people, allowing the government to foot the bill so that low-income people can have health insurance? I'm not here to tell you. Now, let me assert my opinion in here. If you're not on the side of helping low-income people afford their health insurance, then you are fucking crazy. Just saying. You want to put my opinion, my analysis in here? How cruel do you have to be to then be okay with taking away health insurance from low-income people? Are you crazy? That is awful. If you're one of these people that is okay with Republicans trying to take away these subsidies, these discounts, these coupons for low-income people to receive health insurance, then you are just cruel. You are just cruel. You have no empathy whatsoever. I'm sorry, but I am not a sycophant for the rich, wealthy healthcare establishment. I'm not. It's disgusting, the fact that there are people who are low income themselves and they don't even realize that voting for Republicans meaning that they want their support for Republicans is sabotaging their own bottom line. It's just exhausting to me. It's exhausting that we have to capitulate to the rich, wealthy corporations. It's exhausting. It really is. I'm over it. I'm over it. The reason the government is shut down is simply because you want a one-liner? Here you go. Democratic senators are refusing to cave into Republicans' demands to cut healthcare subsidies, discounts, a huge reduction in the amount that they owe each month for low-income people. I believe that we should have a universal healthcare system. I believe that we should have a system, instead of all of this crap, I believe that we should have a system where you pay into it what you can based on your income. So that means if you are a wealthy Democrat or a wealthy Republican, you're going to pay a portion of your income into the system. Same with if you're a low income person, you're going to pay a portion of your income into the system. I believe in a universal healthcare system where you pay into it what you can and we all receive the same benefits. Instead of this corporate model where you have these health insurance corporations being able to price gouge you whatever you want. But to pour gasoline on the fire here is taking away the ability, the small amount of aid that the government provides for low-income people to have health insurance in this market. Republicans are so greedy, so cruel, that they want to take away health insurance subsidies for low-income people, health insurance discounts, coupons in that way, if you want to think about it, for low-income people. Oftentimes, their own fucking voters. Democratic politicians, as flawed as they are, Democratic senators are at least fighting for low-income MAGA people to still receive a discount for their Medicaid. It is exhausting to me to have to over-explain it in such a way. But that all being said, the cruelty is the point. Republicans claim to be the party of Christian and moral values. You know, we love our Lord and Savior. I'm Southern. Don't get on me for, oh, you're making fun of Southern people. I'm a Southern person myself. Don't even go there. It's exhausting, the hypocrisy that these people cast upon America by constantly claiming that they are holier than thou while browbeating people and taking away their health care, their ability for them to afford their health care. It's exhausting to have to live in that kind of country. It's exhausting. And for all the people that are like, oh, they're just trying to cut it for illegal aliens. No, they're cutting it for everyone, and that's the problem. Because the people receiving the amount of the money for these healthcare subsidies are not illegal aliens. And if you really want to go, oh, well, it's undocumented people that are receiving all of that stuff. Can you think critically for yourself for just a second and stop listening to Donald Trump's lies? Just like, this is the kind of crap that he puts out there. He says that it's illegal aliens that are receiving all of this money. Here, hold on, let me get to it. He's like, oh, it's the illegals. It's the illegals. They're taking all the money. It's all on them. It's all on them. They are taking every single penny, every single one. The Democrats want to give healthcare money to illegal aliens and open the borders. Republicans must use this opportunity of Democrat forced closure to clear out dead wood, waste, fraud, and abuse. He's basically saying, defining waste, fraud, and abuse as healthcare subsidies for low-income people, which undocumented people do not qualify for Medicaid. They don't. In order to receive Medicaid, you have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be a U.S. citizen. Medicaid is health insurance for low-income people, adults and kids. I live in North Carolina. In order to qualify to receive Medicaid, you must be a goddamn U.S. citizen. And with a small, narrow provision that possibly goes to undocumented people is for a small, narrow exception specifically for emergencies. As you can see here, has the government allocated any money to illegal and undocumented immigrants for Medicaid? No! You have to be a citizen in order to receive health insurance coverage. Though there's one tiny small provision. There is emergency Medicaid. This is only for acute, life-threatening conditions. So if you have a severe problem, you can go to the hospital. So I would not be surprised, and I'm just going to say it like this, and I'm going to be ending the live stream soon. I would not be surprised if there are Republican voters that are advocating for hospitals to ask while someone's having a medical emergency, are you a U.S. citizen? Do you think that Jesus would be okay with hospitals discriminating based on someone's citizenship status? Because in the Bible, it talks about the story of the Good Samaritan. It's funny how these people claim to be so overly Christian, yet I guarantee you that a majority of these MAGA people would be okay with the United States discriminating against someone based on their citizenship status. Never mind that they're a human being that has emotions, a family, and that deserve life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness under our Constitution as a person themselves, but also being a good human being and not being cruel. I guarantee you that you would have a lot of MAGA people that advocate for the discrimination based on someone's citizenship status. And then they go to church and say, oh, I'm a good Christian. I'm a good Christian. Oh, I love, I'm a good Christian. Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, that's my Savior. Those are the same people that probably think that it's okay to discriminate against someone based on their citizenship status. They're having a medical emergency, being like, yeah, hospitals shouldn't treat somebody because of that. That's what emergency Medicaid is for. Being able to go to the hospital and actually, no matter your citizenship status, be able to receive Medicaid, be able to receive treatment. And you really want to be like, well, how much does it cost? $3.8 billion. That's all. In the grand scheme of things, when you actually account for Medicaid, that's 0.4%. 0.4% of Medicaid. 0.4%, not even 1% goes to this program. And if you're so upset, you're like, well, that's $3.8 billion. So are you not going to be more upset over $12 billion going in aid to Israel? Are you not going to be upset over $20 billion going to bail out the economy of Argentina? If you're going to be mad about numbers, at least put it in context. I expect you to be outraged against this. So is this America first or Argentina first? I'm just putting it in perspective here. Except many MAGA people cannot have a consistent ideology. They don't. All they care about is opportunism for Trump, because that's what they've been conditioned to think. And as someone who grew up in a very Christian conservative Southern home, I can tell you that's exactly what it is. You flip-flop in your positions based on convenience, because that is what the cult demands of you. It's exhausting trying to advocate for a country based on principles and morality when there is a good chunk of the population that has made it their whole identity to reject having principles or having an ideology. And if they do, it's an ideology based on hate and opportunism. Hate for other people who are different and opportunism for Trump. Period. End of story. It's exhausting. So, all that being said, I need to skedaddle. I've been on for about an hour and 10 minutes. Y'all are incredible. I hope that someone says you're exhausting. Sweetie, that's the wrong you're. I appreciate every single one of you, even if you hate me. So, someone says bye, queen. I think if you're trying to troll me, okay. If you're trying to compliment me, thank you. Although I don't necessarily like being called queen. You can be exhausting later, bro. Non-troll. Okay. Well, Tyler, thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. You're awesome. So, MAGA make Argentina great again. 100%. Bye, monarch. I'm not a monarch. I mean, I guess I'm the ruler of my own life, but that's all. Anyway, you're cool, bro. You've done nothing but spit facts. I mean, I've also shared my opinion on it too, but yeah, like, I'm just breaking it all down here. It's just exhausting. It really is exhausting that this is the political moment we're living through. Like, none of this has to be a conflict between citizens. This is really a top-down issue. It's a top-down issue. The fact is, for as flawed as Democrats are, and I'm saying that as a registered Democrat myself, at least they're fighting in this small, narrow way to help low-income people. And like, if it was the other way around, let's say it was the other way around for just a second. Imagine if it was the other way around. And Democrats were saying, we want to eliminate these programs, these subsidies to help low-income people afford their health care. And it was Republicans that were advocating, no, we need to continue these subsidies. The subsidies, which are help a good majority of it paid for by U.S. citizens' tax dollars. We need to keep those in place so that low-income people can afford their health care. If it was swapped, I would be giving Republicans absolutely a huge amount of credit. I'd be like, look, they're right on this. Like, that, if it was Democrats trying to take away these subsidies, I'd be calling them out. I'd be calling them out. Because it's less about the sides and praising that. It's more about the top down. A good chunk of the time, Democrats seem to at least be on the side of the working class person. Not always. They have their moments. But a good chunk of the time also, Republicans always seem to be given handouts and billionaires handouts. It's just exhausting. So, imagine having control of 3 branches of government and blaming the other guys for your governance. Yeah. No, seriously. Anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. You know, I hope that this helps. I hope that this illuminated this discussion. I don't think our news media always does a good job at explaining what all of this is about. So I hope that my live stream can help you put the pieces together and think critically. You come to a different conclusion based on the same set of facts, then work. Okay. We can have a disagreement on the approach on how to figure it out or handle it. But what's not up for debate are the objective facts and reality itself. Someone asked, are you a man or a woman? These people really think that it's so clever what they're trying to do. Oh my gosh. Why does it matter? Why does it matter, sweetheart? Faceless profile, why does it matter? Anyway, I need to get going. Oh, thank you, Dana. I appreciate every single one of you. These popsicle stick comments. Please don't tolerate the intolerable. Yeah, 100%. Anyway, I love all of you so much. Shout out to my amazing moderators in here. Akicha, Kate, you're incredible. Ilisa, I love all of you. Ellie, love you, Ellie. Joanna Tech, Kantisa, Cherie, I love all of you so much. You're a great comeback. Oh, thank you. What's happening to men in this world? I don't know. You tell me, bucko. You tell me. Anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. Elisa, you're awesome. So just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye.